Mount Lukens is the highest mountain in the city of Los Angeles. As you can see, there's a lot of taller mountains around, but those are just outside of the city of Los Angeles. Okay, it's January 2020 and I'm starting the hike up Mount Lukens. Okay, so the start of this trail really starts with a climb, and it's almost even within the first mile. It's a big workout, but I'm told that the second half of the loop you actually have an easier descent, so you get the workout in early. Okay, I'm about 2 miles in and I'm at a lookout point. I'm still working my way up the mountain, up the switchbacks. I'm still climbing away. It's still a tough hike, but very beautiful. The whole way up, you see a view, and here's the lookout point. over 3 miles in, and it's a little over 2 hours. I'm nearing the top. The views are just starting to get really spectacular. On the other side of these rocks, I think you can see Mount Wilson over there. And then on this side of the ridge is Mount Lukens. You can see the top. I'm just working my way through. It's less of a climb right now. Here's the view behind me. I was expecting snow up here today. So at the last minute I could tell there was no snow up here. So I left my ice axe and some other gear behind. But you can see a little bit of snow over on Mount Wilson. Only 2 weeks ago there was full snow up here. So it's melted off. That's the beauty of Southern California. Yeah, it's a beautiful day up here on the hike to Mount Lukens. There's still some snow up here. Okay, as I'm working my way up this fire road, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about Mount Lukens. It's named after Theodore Parker Lukens, who is a businessman and a two-time mayor of Pasadena. He became friends with John Muir and became a prominent member of the Sierra Club. He was so involved that eventually they decided to name this mountain after him. There was some controversy because this mountain was named after a nun previously. Her name is on the placard. In 2009, almost this entire mountain was burnt from the station fire, and you still see a lot of remnants around from that burn. I'm sure this fire road that I'm on right now was used heavily in fighting that fire. So it's pretty incredible that over 10 years later you can still see the effects of a fire. Yeah, that's a little history on the mountain. What I'm going on today is about a 9.5 mile loop hike. Mount Lukens is the highest mountain in the city of Los Angeles. As you can see, there's a lot of taller mountains around, but those are just outside of the city of Los Angeles. It's right on the western edge of the San Gabriel Mountains, and this mountain is just over 5,000 feet or over 1,500 meters. One thing I've read a lot of warnings about, and I think it's very true, is there's very little shade on this hike. So you have to be mindful of that. I'm hiking in January, so it's not as hot, but it's still a warm day. There's snow on the other mountains, but it's still very warm up here. If you're hiking in the summer, bring a lot of water and try to cover up as much as you can. And try to start your hike as early as you can to avoid the heat. So that was what I hiked so far. Now I think I'm arriving at the summit. Okay, I made it to the summit of Mount Lukens. This is probably one of the least windy summits I've been to. Check out the views up here. So I made it to the summit at about 11:35. It took me about 3.5 hours, a little over that. Hopefully it'll be quicker going down. So that's the summit behind me, the summit marker. But I actually like the view this way, if it weren't for these antennas. Okay, so it's about 12:30 and I'm heading down. I was up here for almost an hour, and it's time to head back. It's always hard to go from looking at views like this. More snow on this side of the mountain. For the most part it's melted, which is nice. Definitely made it a quicker hike. I don't know if you can see them in my camera, but there's these little swarms of small flies around. I'm not sure what type of flies these are, but they're not really that much of a pest as long as you don't mind little insects around, but sometimes you have to be careful not to eat them as you walk into a swarm, so, or breathe them in or get them in your eye. So just part of hiking on the trail. Oh no, it looks like I'm getting closer to civilization again. I like it much better up here. At the beginning there was a sign that said breathe, And up there near the top of the mountain, that's where you could really breathe. Down here, you can see the air. Okay, so the second part of the loop, it was more gradual at times, and there was some steep parts. Sometimes the trail got even more narrow on the second part of the loop, and there was also some steeper cliffs where you could actually fall, hurt yourself pretty bad. But overall, this whole trail, it seems pretty safe. It seems unlikely that you could really fall, but you never know. I mean, conditions get pretty dangerous in winter with the snow on the ground, and you never know. There's a lot of places where it could be dangerous. Overall, I really enjoyed this trail, and I'm almost at the end. It's about 3:18, and it took about 7 hours to do the full hike. That's with an hour stop for lunch and a bunch of small breaks. But overall, that was the Mount Lukens Loop hike. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to check out my other videos. And if you like this video, be sure to like and comment. Thanks so much. Peace.